Greetings to everyone. Just wanted to talk about the current events going on in this country and how I think they correlate really close to events in the Book of Mormon. For a long time, I've thought that the events of recorded the events that are recorded in the Book of Mormon right prior to Christ coming and visiting the Americas, the people of the Americas, right after his death and resurrection. Those events correlate, in my opinion, similar to his second coming, with destruction, with wars, with all kinds of things in disarray, and then Christ comes and establishes his kingdom among those in the Americas somewhere, and we can talk about that again, where that might have been. But in any event, whoever he visited and wherever he visited in the Promised Land, in the New World, in the Americas, it had such a profound effect among these people that they lived in peace for nearly 200 years. That's really similar to the story that we hear of Christ's second coming, where there's going to be wars, there's going to be pestilence, there's going to be famines, there's going to be major disruptions in governments and conspiracies. And then Christ will come and he'll rule and reign for 1,000 years. So this is like a mini second coming, in a sense, of what's going on. In my opinion, I see a lot of similarities. So 3 Nephi chapter 7, let me read this to you and see if you don't see some similarities as you watch the news, particularly what's going on in Seattle, where, I don't know, a block, 7 or 8, 6, 7 blocks, city blocks have been taken over. Listen to this. This is 3 Nephi chapter 7, and I'll just start right at verse 1. Now behold, I will show unto you that they did not establish a king over the land, but in this same year, yea, the 13th year, they did destroy upon the judgment, the 30th year, they did destroy upon the judgment seat, yea, did murder the chief judge of the land. Now listen to this next verse, verse 2. And the people were divided one against another, and they did separate one from another into tribes, every man according to his family and his kindred and friends. And thus they did destroy the government of the land, and every tribe did appoint a chief or a leader over them, and thus they became tribes and leaders of tribes. It feels like the beginning of that happening in this country, in many of the major cities, and that the politicians themselves that manage these cities and been voted and elected seem to welcome this change. I'll point out verse 5. They did yield themselves unto the power of Satan. That was the end of verse 5. Things changed. So for over 100 years, they had the judges. Now think of how things changed with King Messiah, and how the government changed under his leadership, and allowing the people to have more input. And even though he was a great king, a wonderful king, and a righteous king, he saw, after translating the Jaredite record, after knowing what possibilities could happen with a wicked king, he thought it best to change that form of government into what they called the time of the judges. So that process was so much smoother, and the people felt vested in it. They enjoyed being part of it. And even though it allowed for maybe more discontent and people opposing the status quo, it gave people an opportunity to have some agency and have a voice. So here we go. Now, probably, I think it's about 100 years, maybe a little bit more later, the people become so wicked, they destroy that form of government, which I would argue that the United States of America, this great experiment, with all of its flaws, is the most wonderful, amazing form of government ever. And the wonderful men and women that were able to put greater things above their own interests and form this government. And now, in my opinion, it's being taken over by individuals who are looking for self-interest, and this conspiracies go and happen because that's what conspirators do. They look out for number one, and they find other people that are looking out for number one. And I think that's what's going on here. So look at those similarities. There are people breaking off into tribes, and I think that's what's happening, beginning to happen now in this country. So take a look at it, see what you think, and then immediately after that comes the destruction. And listen to this, and right prior to this destruction, this is in chapter 8 of 3rd Nephi and verse 4. And there began to be great doubtings and disputations among the people, notwithstanding so many signs had been given. I think we've been given a lot of signs of what's going to take place. We have a prophet in President Nelson who tells us over and over again to prepare for the second coming of the Savior. We have 3 versions of Matthew 24. We have Matthew 24, Christ teaching his apostles on the Mount of Olives about his second coming, and the signs that would take place. And even though we might not know the hour of the day, if there's vultures around, something died. Okay, we see the signs. Also, Paul, I think, referred to a woman with child, pregnant. She might not know the hour or the day that she's going to have that baby, but she definitely knows the signs of when she's going to have that baby. And so she knows for a certainty the season and the week, maybe, or within 2 weeks. Okay, so we're talking about a situation here where we should have plenty of notice. So we have Matthew chapter 24. We have that interesting chapter in chapter, I guess, or book in the Pearl of Great Price. It's Matthew chapter 1, which is actually the end of Matthew 23 and then all of Matthew 24. And then we have that wonderful section in the Doctrine and Covenants, section 45, which encompasses 24, Matthew 24, 25, and really has some awesome insight. So, and the Pearl of Great Price version of Matthew 24 and D&C 45 really are. It's kind of a mesh because it's at the time when Joseph Smith is translating the New Testament. Okay, and so these things come up. But look at the pattern there where we have three witnesses of the signs of the time. We have three witnesses of Christ speaking to his apostles. That to me says pay attention to those things, because we have them in three of our four standard works. Okay, so that's it for there. Tribes, check the news out. See if it doesn't look like it's very similar to 3rd Nephi chapter 7. That's it. Have a good one. Talk to you soon. Goodbye.